When the children have a calculation like 86 subtract 30, what we expect them to do is to count back in tens. Children need to understand what subtraction is. They need to understand that they're taking this number away from this one. Sometimes you might see children writing down subtractions such as 30 take away 86. And they need to understand why that's not possible. Well, it is possible, but you would go into negative numbers, which you don't really need to go into with the children at this point. But they need to understand what they're doing. If they're not sure, then always go back to concrete materials. Get counters or matchsticks or anything that you've got to hand to show them taking away something, or make up a math story such as, I saved £86 up into my piggy bank and I spent £30 of it, how much do I have left? And get the children to invent their own math story around a calculation. It really helps them to understand what they are doing and what this operation, subtraction, actually means. So 86 subtract 30, we might also say 86 minus 30. So this is a mental strategy, so something we hope the children will be able to do in their minds, but it helps them to have a model. If they're struggling, it's useful to draw a number line. You're going to start at 86, and the larger number is always on the right. So we're going to count back 3 tens from 86. Take away 1 10, and we get to 76. Take away another 10, and we get to 66. Take away another 10, and we get to 56. It's worth pointing out to the children that the units stay the same. A good way of doing this is using a 100 square. If we're counting back 3 tens from 86, obviously a really easy way of doing this is when the children use a 100 square. We use 100 squares quite often in the classroom, so it'd be really easy to download from the internet or obviously just make your own. If we're on 86, if we're counting back tens, we know that we move back a square. So that's a jump of 10, 20, that's 3 tens that we've jumped back. So children should know that on a 100 square, if they're moving up, then they're subtracting 10, counting back 10 each time. If they're moving downwards, say from 49 to 59, that's adding 10. So by moving vertically on a 100 square, we can help them with that really easily. Well, what about if the children have something more difficult, such as 86 subtract 35, say? What we would like their children to do is start with the largest number, 86, and then count back just the tens first of all, to keep things simple. So they need to be able to partition this 35 into a 30, that's 30, and that is 5, to know that this isn't a 3 and a 5, that this is, the value of this 3 is 30, 3 tens. So they're going to count back their 3 tens, they're going to jump from 86 back to 76, another 10 back to 66, remembering that the units stay the same when you're counting back tens. I've done 2 tens because I've got 2 jumps. My third 10 takes me back to 56. So I've dealt with my 30 and now I need to deal with my 5. Now I'm not going to have to go over that 50 barrier down into the 40s because I've got a 6. I need to count back 5. I know, using my number bonds to 6, that 5 and 1 makes 6, so I should be able to jump back, without counting back in ones really, to 51. What about when you do have to bridge over a tens barrier? I'll show you what I mean by that. Say we've got 86 subtract 37 this time. Start with the largest number, count back the tens, we've got 3 tens. 1 10 takes us back to 76. Another 10 takes us back to 66, that's 20. 30 takes us back to 56. I've counted back 10, 20, 30. We've dealt with the 30, now we need to deal with that 7. Now I'm on 56, I need to count back 7, that means it's going to go over that 50 barrier. But I know that 6 add 1 is what makes 7. So I know if I count back 6, I get to 50. and I know that I have one more to subtract, which takes me to 49. So my final answer is 49. Let's do another example of that. 54, take away 27. At this point in the film, you could pause this, do this with your child, and then start the film again and see how you did. You may have a slightly different method. It's important for children to discover their own methods, so long as they're not too overly complicated, so long as they're efficient. Start with the largest, count back the tens. I have 2 tens. 1 10 takes us back to 44. Another 10 takes us back to 34. I've counted back 20. 10, 20. I now have my 7 to deal with. If I think about 34, which I'm on, I need to go back 7. That's going to go over that 30 barrier down into the 20s. But I know that 4 add 3 makes 7. So if I count back 4 to 30, I know that I've got 3 the other side. 30 take away 3. I know, again using my number bonds to 10, I know that 7 add 3 makes 10, so I should be able to count back 3 and get to 27.